Thank you for coming today. My name is Alexandra Shaw, and I will be discussing cross curricular connections and the focus of writing knowledge transfer. To show you what I value by standing in front of you today, I want you to think back to your favorite classroom and how your teacher greeted you every morning. Welcome, students. Those were the first two words spoken to me by my 10th grade history teacher, Mr. Gonzalez. My English teacher, Miss Thompson, started off class with, "Let's get started." She was very preppy at 8 o'clock in the morning. The difference between my two 10th grade teachers wasn't only their greetings or the subjects they taught, but how they approached teaching two different subjects through cross curricular connections. This cohesive way of teaching made me, the teenager who loathes going to school at 7:30 in the morning, actually want to attend class and learn. When schools implement cross curricular subjects, students are more engaged to use critical thinking skills through writing transfer knowledge that aids in self efficacy. Writing transfer knowledge is like layering a really good sandwich. The writer continuously applies what they have learned about writing and uses it in new subjects or situations that build new skills. One way to apply writing transfer knowledge is to guide students to learn through cross curricular subjects. Basically, a student who loathes school at 7 a.m. in the morning wants to come to school because the content they are learning piques their interest. And it's also important to note that cross curricular connections often help students relate to real life connections. In 2001, I was a test subject group for my school's new implementation of cross curricular connections. These two subjects were English and history. During this time, we learned about the history of World War II and the Diary of Anne Frank. Rather than a brief description in English about World War II, I was given the knowledge to transfer what I wrote in history class to what I was learning in English class. For the first time, I felt connected to writing and history. My success as a student depended on these skills. Rebecca Norwack states, "School is always the place in relation to multiple other domains, all with complex sets of ideology, socioculture, and historical factors that impacts the Knowledge Transfer Act. But in 2001, the redesigned curriculum assisted so that I was able to transfer knowledge between two subjects." As advanced scholars, we often think that writing transfer knowledge should start in higher education. The point of knowledge transfer is knowledge creation and storage. This innovative link occurs when students, like my 10th grade self, have the opportunity to understand that success depends on skills and how tasks are tied together because two subjects are meant to be taught together. When writing my speech for this presentation, I started to think about how I was a student that struggled with math. But if I had a higher level of self efficacy and I focused on my strengths, that I would and could believe in something, then I would accomplish a task or the task at hand. And this starts as a young child in kindergarten. Take a moment to think about the age you struggled to learn something in school. Now, think about our current world students who use technology and have access to AI, struggle when presented with fostering deep critical thinking skills and transferring those skills with a writer's knowledge. The students end up failing, they struggle. But if you think about a student using their real life circumstances and they are able to transfer that knowledge into what they are learning and apply it between two subjects, a student has better odds at completing the task. And not only that, but the task keeps going. The writing does not stop. As an educator in English language arts, I often wonder if my grade level colleagues held a meeting and figured out how to model and identify skills our students struggle with, how they would meet the needs of becoming successful students with confidence in their writing abilities. When cross curricular connections are applied alongside writing transfer, students will adapt prior skills, reshape their thinking, repurpose old skills, foster connections between high and low skills, and perceive themselves in a whole new light. It is important to note that cross curricular connections and writing transfer knowledge can be impacted by students who struggle um, in the dispositions for how they are learning. Not only do students struggle in high school or college, but within each course they take, or even when they become employed because they did not gain the skills that they needed. As you sit in this room, remember that you are leaders of writers, the writing academic movement, and can take the impact that leaves students struggling to learn, writing transfer knowledge, into students who can succeed at writing tasks. By having students learn through cross curricular connections, this assists students in learning the proper steps rather than focusing on their dispositions when it comes to writing. More times than not, students are faced with the dilemma that they are not good enough, when in fact they are, but the skills they learned did not allow them to use their real life skills that cognitively activated in academics in a way that they were able to understand something. Don't think of these impacts as bending to a student's will, but how, as academic writers and maybe even educators, we can focus on knowledge creation and storage and how those links focus on the whole student rather than their broken parts. Thank you.